My name's Mary Lily.
I'm Marshall.
And I'm Caitlin. And we're the hosts of Unveiled Opinions.
Three newly and almost wed girlies with a podcast on any and everything wedding related. Hey guys.
What's up?
Hello, how's it going?
Good, good. Another Monday. I have just watched this TikTok, you guys, and it kind of blew my mind about weddings. And I've been waiting with bated breath to get your opinion on it. So I know I just showed it to you guys right before we kicked off. That's why I'm so excited to tell you. But let me cue it up for the listeners. So we just watched a TikTok where a girl is saying that she was going on her sister-in-law's destination bachelorette, and it was expensive, but she was like, I wanted to pay it. It's my future sister-in-law. So she coughed up $650 for the Airbnb.
Per person.
Per person. So the sister-in-law was like, it's a little much, but whatever. Checked it out online. It was correct. The girl did want $2,300 a night for the house. And so it wasn't the incorrect amount. But then later she was speaking with her brother who was marrying the girl. And the brother said, what a relief that her dad came through and paid for that Airbnb. I knew it was going to be really expensive for you guys.
Wild.
Mic drop. So she then found out that the bride in some way was making a profit off of the bachelorette girl's money. So I just think it's kind of crazy. And the girl goes on to say, who knows if she her dad paid after the fact. She hasn't refunded us. I don't know the whole story. She did not say she asked. She was saying, what should I do, basically. But I just thought it was crazy town. What do you guys think?
That is so nuts. It's like she's charging a cover fee for her bachelorette, even though she's not having to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
A $650 cover fee.
Yeah, if you want to come to my party.
Also, your friends are the ones who buy all the stuff. What are you even buying? The outfits?
Exactly. And at this point, I bet her dad is.
I know.
That is so insane. I wouldn't
Would
go.
you guys tell the brother? Because this girl did not tell her brother immediately.
100%.
Yeah, I would have a conversation.
Would you do it right when you
right
realize
then
it,
and there.
Caitlin? Or do you think you would wait? Caitlin, I feel like
you're
you love to be a snitch.
Yeah,
Marshall would do it in 2 seconds if she found
right
out
there and
her
right then and
sister-in-law
there.
was being nefarious. Marshall would send out a group message to the family and
Yeah,
then
no.
call her brother and
I would get it taken care of literally in the next 30 minutes.
Marshall would be
it'll
hold
done.
on, I got to send out a newsletter to 20 people and I got to call JP. I'm going to his store.
I'd be like, I'm going to show up at his work and he's going to make this right.
I'm going to close down his store.
Seriously.
No, for real. I mean, you're way calmer than I am.
wouldn't, but-
So.
Yeah. I think it depends how pissed I was in the moment.
$650 is a lot of
That's
dollars.
Yeah.
And if you're a destination, that means not even the flight.
Yeah, not even the flight.
Just the Airbnb.
Just to show up. So it was easily a $1,500 weekend.
And that's probably being
being
Very modest.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it would try to come from a place of curiosity of okay, so this is what you said, kind of here's the other side of the situation. What are you comfortable and how to address this? Because this just doesn't feel right.
God, Caitlin always a therapist.
That's good. I would have already
totally different.
I would have already burned bridge. I'd be like, I'm not coming to your wedding. I'm not a bridesmaid.
No,
How
I
dare you?
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't have done that, but I probably would be like, hey, I probably would call my dad first. My dad with everything.
I would call Janine.
And then I would be like, what should I do?
Yeah.
And then probably in the end, my parents would call.
No, I would
Is
call
that
my
so
brother
baby?
immediately. Yeah.
Well, I think it's just help me understand the situation because,
I feel like my parents would come at it in a non-combative way, which is what would be best because I would come at it in a very combative way.
Yeah.
I could blow up on
You'd
my
charge
brother
interest.
and it'd be fine. Yeah. And he'd be like, no, let me figure it out. And he's the calm one. So he would be like, let me figure out what's going on here.
I would be like, you took $650 hairs from me?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick $650 hairs out of your head.
I'd be like, you owe that.
Lay down, bitch. Also, to add insult to injury, when it was her wedding, before she paid for the sister-in-law to be flown out there, paid for her dress and everything because it was like her brother's girlfriend and she was going through a hard time. So she like helped her and made sure she was like all good for his wedding. Yeah.
And like, who knows? Obviously, weddings are expensive. However, if you feel the need to charge your friends,
then maybe you shouldn't be having that kind of a bachelorette party.
Yeah. Maybe just do something local and like.
Yeah, like Gil, his brother, his first time.
Anyway, speaking of locations.
Speaking of locations.
Location. That is the topic of our episode today.
Venue.
Yeah, selecting your venue. So nothing really defines your nuptials aesthetic and experience more than the choice of your wedding venue. Mm-hmm. So sorting through the contracts, navigating the dates, all of those things of weighing the pros and cons can be a more consuming part of your planning process getting started. So today we're going to dive into y'all's perspective on how to pick your perfect venue.
I can't wait.
So starting off, question, did you pick the specific date first or did you pick the venue and allow that to impact the date?
I picked the venue. And then from there, I was like, what do you have available in fall, winter? And then went from there. They had nothing in October, per usual. But yeah, so that's how we chose the November date, was based on the venue.
Yeah.
So what about y'all? I know what you did, Mary Lily.
Yeah, we kind of did the same thing. We picked the venue and we were like, here are the, well, I guess it was tandem because I was like, here are the months I want to get married. Do you have, what dates are available? But yeah, if they didn't have any of those dates, then I probably would have been like, bye.
Yeah, during the first round of communication over email, I asked what they had available. So I was like, I'm not going to drive 3.5 hours if you don't even have this available. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So my mom got my date earlier. I know I've said that before. But I always knew I was going to get married there, I guess. In Asheville, there's this like beautiful basilica. I've always like just really wanted to get married there. And Matthew's grandmother went to boarding school there when she was young. And like my family's always just like loved going to Asheville and visiting. So it was really important for me to get married there. I think I had wanted to get married there before I was engaged. My dad like used to make fun of me and be like, you have your whole wedding planned. You just need to find a victim. So I found one.
Mission accomplished.
And the wedding's on. The plans were already set though.
Yeah, because of the venue.
Because of the venue. So it was pretty easy for me, I guess. I mean, my mom was like, trying to do it behind the scenes. Like it was very out in the open though. Like she can't keep a secret.
Yeah.
So that was mine. Also like Biltmore Forest is a great venue. Where I'm getting married is gorgeous. So it wasn't like, I don't know. I feel like I have a lame answer, but whatever.
So you chose your date and then thankfully it was just, or your mom?
No, my mom did I told my mom I wanted early summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just went with what they had.
Yeah. And I think, I don't even really know.
Yeah.
I think they just said June 15th and she was like, we'll take it.
Yeah.
How does your dad feel about the wedding week being the same week as
Father's Day?
Not Father's Day. What is it, the U.S. Open?
He's good with it. First of all, the U.S. Open being that week might deter some people from coming.
Because it's in Pinehurst.
Who are my dad's friends who might be playing in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping to get some no's. And then second of all, I'm like, that's a good thing to have on TV.
Yeah.
During
That'll
it.
be fun.
Yeah. And like all the boys will love to like have that to watch. All the dads, like somebody needs something going on to look at on TV.
Yeah.
Those men. And then
occupy them.
Yeah, I'm also getting married over Father's Day. But my dad, multiple years before, I've been like, what do you want for Father's Day? He's like, I want to watch golf and not hear you talk. So I think as long as I'm not too much of a bother Sunday, it's ideal for him.
Yeah.
He's in the mountains. He loves the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can wander off.
He just spent a bunch of money the night before.
Yeah.
He'll be thrilled.
Yeah. He can just sit.
It's a good gift to him.
Soak it in. I'm sure it'll be chaos the next day. And I have to go to church.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I have to go to church
Good
the
luck.
day after.
I was dead the day after my wedding.
For Mass.
Just because it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow, that's commitment.
Well, it's like my whole family's there. We're very Catholic. Like,
Yeah, you can't be like, oh, I'm going to sleep in today.
keep like, sorry guys, I don't know if I'm the bride. I'm going to be hungover. They're all going at noon.
At least it's
it's late.
Yeah, not like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
You're definitely getting into heaven.
Jealous much?
I'll be there eventually.
So, Marshall, from when you like first got engaged, I know that we talked about you like tried to wait a little bit before you started some of the planning things.
Yeah.
But how far out did you start looking at venues from like that time period to your actual wedding date?
So I got engaged in September. I tried to give it that month. I don't think I made it the whole month of like being calm. I think I kind of started reaching out to venues before I got engaged. So there was that. But
Did it affect how long y'all's engagements were?
because when I was looking, I was between
So would you have had a shorter engagement if it was your choice?
I liked having a longer engagement so I could get everything taken care of. I ended up being thankful that I had a longer engagement, but it also just depended on the venue because I was between the beach and the mountains. If I did the mountains, it would have been a summer wedding. So
Right.
that would have been a much shorter engagement. And then I ended up having a year and like 2 months or something like that.
Yeah, which is about the same
Yeah.
time that I had. It was a year and 2 months.
I liked in the end having a longer, I know they don't suggest. I feel like planners and like all the wedding.
No, I literally was
They
just
don't
telling
suggest
Matthew
it.
this because our wedding's less than 3 months away now.
I know, it's crazy.
Zola emailed me.
Yeah.
It's like, you're 3 months away from your wedding. I was like, what the
I forgot about that countdown they do.
I know.
It's a little scary.
Yeah,
Pressure's on.
Because they'll like give you a checklist of all the things that you
No,
should be
I
doing.
delete it. It's like, hi, it's Melissa from Zola.
Yes.
I'm like,
Gilbert,
stop
how
trying
many
to
times is she going to email us?
stop trying to trick me, Melissa. I know you're not real.
You're a butt.
A bot. But so yeah, my wedding's really coming up soon. But I'm like so ready for it. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
And you had just about a year.
I had under a year, less than a year by 10 days.
Yeah.
That's pretty normal. Most people do. They do under a year, right?
I feel like with COVID, it's so much longer.
Well, you
Yeah.
have to because you have. All these weddings got pushed.
Research
So, yeah.
is like now saying it's 12 to 18 months.
That's wild because I thought I had like such a long engagement compared to everyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was the perfect amount
I
of
did
time.
too.
Mine, I'm like so excited for it to be here, but I'm also like slow down. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
like wish it away.
Yeah.
And, like, for
You
it
wanna
to be
savor it.
over.
Yeah.
But like I have like this. Well, I've kind of had like this month of March off, and I have like kind of April off really from wedding stuff, and then like May,
Whatever
I
these
have
months are.
Every weekend is wedding stuff, and
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. And I have a bunch, so it really just like ranks up. I feel like June, and then I like get back from my honeymoon, and it's the end of June,
It's crazy.
and so it's just like crazy that it's gonna all happen in like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah.
You do hit that plateau with like planning
Yeah.
where it's like there's nothing left you can do because you had to make all the big decisions.
Yeah, my mom and I made our
Yeah.
welcome boxes this weekend. I'm like ready to see all my stuff like in
Come
living
to-
color, and like also like I don't want all these freaking bitches on Instagram. I've had these ideas for 9 months. I don't need anyone to steal it.
Yeah.
I told my artist friend to only do something for me, and I said, and you can't repeat it until after my wedding. She did it just on a different thing for someone else. I literally.
Did you go off?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I said I specifically copyrighted this. Are you kidding me?
my
I did
God.
specifically ask. I was like, do not tell anyone you can do this until after my wedding. It was my idea to do it.
And so she just turned around and did it on like
I
something
don't know.
else.
Yeah, it's fine. We're over the fight.
it's fine.
She's already gotten her anger out.
Yeah.
It's still probably brewing a
Process.
bit, but
Hopefully not a lot of people caught that Instagram. But if they did, it was my idea first.
Noted. With some of the bigger decisions of getting started, was there any like top things that you considered when you were narrowing your list of venues?
yeah, I mean, well, there's only like a couple I was looking at.
But when you were picking between beach and mountains, like how did you get to beach and mountains how did you choose not to do Charlotte, or you're from Rock Hill, you go through your whole life?
Well, my brother got married about a year before me. So he did the Rock Hill thing. And Rock Hill is small. There's not a whole lot of venues, and
Yeah.
he took the good one. So there was that. And then we thought about Charlotte for about half a moment, but like there was nothing that no place we really like connected with.
Yeah.
And then I also just growing up, I always either wanted to do Blowing Rock or Polly's Island. So it kind of just like reverted back to that. And he's from the beach. He's from Charleston area. So that just kind of, well, it's Mount Pleasant, but whatever. So that just kind of helped because the beach would have been, the mountains would have been like so far for most of it because he's got a lot of Florida family.
yeah.
So that helped a lot in choosing at least the like central location.
Yeah, Kate, how did you guys choose your venue and like location? What was that convo? Because I know Kyle's from Kansas.
Yeah.
You don't say.
In case you hadn't heard.
I've turned Marshall's microphone down multiple times. I just want to apologize.
We decided I always wanted to get married at the place that we grew up vacationing. However, that is about 6 hours or 5 hours from Charlotte of a drive.
And nowhere close to an airport, really.
Yeah, there's like a small airport that's not reliable. So like Kyle's family was really not going to have a way of getting there. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, it's kind of nice to like have it closer. And the venue that we so like the venues that we were looking at kind of had some of the characteristics of the aesthetic in a way of the venue that I always dreamed of getting married. And so that was kind of how we ended up picking of like just old house, like very traditional in that sense.
Historic.
Yeah.
Yes, historic.
Old house.
Old
Creaky home.
Yeah.
Just an old house.
Just an old house.
Yeah.
A fixer-upper. So, Marshall, when you kind of started looking at venues, how did you ultimately decide that you found the right one?
So I wanted an outdoor wedding, but I also was trying to be practical enough that if something happened with the rain, I wanted it to be also pretty inside. Now, where I did get married, it's beautiful inside, but it's just I'm really happy it didn't rain. But, like, that was something I took into consideration. Like, am I going to be devastated if I have to get married inside at this location? And, like, I was like, I can make it, like,
Beautiful,
make it what I want. Yeah. So that was something that was really important to me, that the grounds were pretty, but they also had it equally pretty inside. Or at least mostly pretty inside.
Yeah.
Did you think about that too, Kate? Because your ceremony was outside as well.
Yeah, our ceremony did end up, it was originally planned to be under the tent. And then the weather was nice. And so we were able to do it outside. But it was just like the convenience too. The other venue that we had looked at, it was far from where all of our friends lived. We would have probably needed transportation.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted something that was like convenient and that like everybody, I mean, we had friends literally walk to the venue from their house.
I think transportation's like a really big thing when you're thinking about venues because like mine, since I'm getting married in the church, I do have like kind of the two venues. So we're only really doing transportation for the wedding party. From the club to the ceremony and back to the club and then to the after party. And that was like kind of but it's a huge budget thing.
It is.
And being able to cut transportation out of your budget or at least like cut it down is huge.
That was a big thing for us too. We wanted to go where people could stay on the property.
You did something cool though, Marshall, is you guys got Uber money.
We did. So that was like, we did the Uber credit sort of. They just had to like use a code, I think. And because I think I paid,
we like scanned a QR code or something.
Yeah. So because, I mean, most people weren't Ubering because most people stayed on the property. So people would just walk back to their condo. But we didn't even do it. We looked into doing a hotel block, but they're like, it's the beach and it's so like spread out.
We only did one hotel block and it was because the club has like a thing with them and it's easy. So we didn't like have to sign a contract or anything.
You have to like pay if they didn't
because we were looking at doing the other ones and it was crazy. And then at the Biltmore, they don't do them.
No. Yeah. So I think you're right. Like convenience of like people being able to stay near. That was a big thing with us too. And also it's like Polly's doesn't have a ton of Ubers. So I was like really concerned that people like were not going to be able to get one.
It's because that one time.
Yeah.
That
when
we were-
went. Yeah. That
we were
had
outside of
the pit, weren't
the
we?
pit, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, this is
It
what's
was-
going to happen.
it was like 11:30. We were so drunk. We'd
Yeah.
just been watching the band and like we were like waiting
Playing
on a
with
car for like
frogs.
30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, literally.
So then Marshall's getting married there and she's like, there are no Ubers
Yeah.
here. Because of one time.
I know. Well, it's like we do vacation there in the summer. Like that's where like my dad's like house.
Well, also in the
is.
summer, it's very different.
It's
qualities
different.
from the winter.
The winter, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people don't go down there in the fall and winter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. Like totally like having location where people can stay near or walk and not having to pay the trans. I looked into it, but like, I mean, literally like 9% of the people stayed on the property. So,
Well, mine, it's like, sorry, if you're staying at the hotel, we have a hotel block on, you're in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Also, it's Asheville. There are Ubers.
yeah,
There's
there's Ubers, in
Ubers
Asheville,
there.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten so many Ubers to the club before.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's not an issue.
yeah.
No.
And
So-
Charlotte's not an issue either.
No.
Yeah, Charlotte, it wasn't an issue.
No. The other venue we looked at was like
Me
in the
has no idea how I got home from Caitlin's wedding. Like, the Uber wasn't an issue at
She's
all.
like, I made it home. I don't know how.
It's
no
great.
problem.
So easy, Caitlin thinks.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do think that's like the guest experience of like how somebody shows up and how they like kind of remember
Yeah.
your wedding overall.
Yeah, I guess-
And like how they describe it.
Yeah, what did you guys like? Did you think of your guest experience like extensively before? And like,
I did. Because Gil and I had gone to so many weddings, and one of the weddings was in a very small town in South Carolina, and they didn't have any Ubers. The hotel block, I was in the wedding, but the hotel block was only enough for family. And so we had to stay a little farther out, like still in town. It was like on
Yeah.
the list of like places to stay. But it was really hard getting an Uber from the ceremony to
Yeah.
the bar. And the wedding ended at like 9. So like we were ready to go out, you know? And so we somehow managed to get an Uber back to our hotel. My car was left at the venue. Gil had to walk 3 miles the next day to
Oh my
go get my
God.
car because there's no Ubers and no cabs. I was on hold with like every cab company, and he literally had to walk 3 miles to get my car. So that was like one thing. Is like when we get married, we're gonna like people are gonna be able to stay on the property, or it's gonna
Yeah.
be like a
Oh,
place
wow.
with Ubers. So I think having those, and that's all he thinks about when he thinks about that wedding
right.
is. Well,
Yeah.
that was the time I had to walk 3 damn miles to your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that does shape your, like,
It
all
does.
the weddings.
Yeah.
So that was like a big thing where like people can stay on the property. Like that has to be an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was like, I really want you to pass champagne when everyone's walking in because I hate waiting in a line.
Especially when you first get there.
My fiance is the most distracted person ever. Even if he says he's going to get me a drink, I will not see him for 45 minutes if he
you
leaves
could have
my
already got
side.
your own. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pointless. I need a drink in my hand when I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
that was like an important thing for me because then the bar lines get big
They
too.
do.
Yeah.
You want to be able to like set the mood for the night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to walk in and not think, "What's my game plan? I've got to sprint
Yeah. How
to
do
the
we
bar."
strategize?
Yeah.
Like, which bar has the shortest line?
You had a band too, so
Yeah.
obviously they were fine of like allowing you to do band or
That-
DJ.
yeah.
Some venues I know
Some-
can be restrictive on that.
It's something to do with like, or you can't have it outside unless like the band has to bring their own power source.
Yeah.
Or like there was all these contracts that I like read, and then my planner, I was like, I don't even know if I'm like reading this correctly.
Yeah.
Like, can you make sure like we can
scary,
have
yeah.
everything? Because there was something in my band's contract.
In their writer.
Yeah, yes, actually. And it was like, but if it gets below a certain degree, they have to be inside. And I was like, well, it's 1000% going to be below
Yeah.
65 degrees. And my planner was like, no, like tents count. And like you have a tent, you have the heaters, you have the walls, you're fine. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, because I was like having a panic attack at dinner when I read it with my mom.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are like a lot of.
That's like all the church stuff, you guys.
Yeah.
I just found out that I can't have my niece, my flower girl, be my flower girl. Because
it's a kid thing, right?
Yeah.
I have gone, it's been insane. I've gone back and forth to try and get this church that I really wanted. I finally got it, lost money, got money, all the things. And
A roller coaster.
finally, I'm like signing this agreement, and it's like, I agree to have no children in the wedding under 6. I'm
Nuts.
like, what? All the children in my wedding are under 6. No one looks
yeah.
like a cherub really after 6.
No, that's the cutoff. Then they
Like,
start they're
Get
like
a
gangly.
grip. Like, what the heck? What am I going to do? Like, can I like drag my little niece and like down the aisle with me? Golly.
Yeah. That's
annoying.
crazy.
Read those contracts. Yeah.
And with your venue, I mean, they'll restrict a lot of things.
That you would never think about.
My niece can be there, but she can't walk down the aisle once. I'm not even going to have her throw petals. I'm like, you got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Venues I know also restrict a lot of like your decor and if you want an exit, you for
my church. My name is Mary Lily. The church is not allowed to have lilies. Someone who works in the church, no form of lilies. Someone who works in the church has an allergy.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I'm like, I've never heard of that in my life.
Murray actually is allergic to lilies. That's the only reason I know. But
whatever.
Never heard of it before then.
It would be Murray.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you do have to just decide, okay, what are the things that are really important to you? Is it important that you want to be able to like bring your own booze in?
We couldn't do that, but yeah.
And so it's just the list of things of like, do you having an idea of what your vision is?
I think your budget is a big part of it too, because if you're going for a cheaper venue, it becomes more expensive. But like the places, I think all of our venues throw weddings semi-often.
Yes.
They did have things that were like
standard for weddings.
Yeah, like easier for us to like.
That was another thing my parents really wanted me to do, like almost like a venue that was all inclusive, kind of like you don't have to. They do the catering, the bar, and everything. Because my brother's wedding was so nice, but they had the reception at my sister-in-law's parents' house, so they did all this outside stuff. And like even for the rehearsal dinner, they had it at like the women's club, which is gorgeous, but it's only the venue. And so my mom was like, that was like so stressful.
Yeah.
Like for, like it can be very, she's like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think. She's like, that was my parents' like one thing. They're like, let's find something where we don't have to find outside caterers, outside bar, like outside security, like anything like that.
It's all
there. Like my parents are like, I just want to write a check. That's literally all I want to do.
Yeah. And that was how our venue was too, is a catering company actually owns the venue itself.
I feel like that's a lot of wedding venues now. That's like a thing that catering companies have started to buy those to like get big.
Yeah. And I mean, it definitely made it add up because you are locked in to here's how much security costs, here's how much linens cost.
Yeah.
And you can't deviate. And there was,
or if you want to deviate, you still have to pay the thing, and then you're bringing in your own for cash.
Yeah,
that's literally like the linens and stuff were included and glassware, but then I ended up getting different linens and different glassware. Which I mean, looking back, the pictures are gorgeous. That was probably dumb, but like I could have just had the basic, and who would have known? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
that's why I was like, whatever.
That was like the big thing. Like
you're not sitting at my table at tables though. If I was doing a sit down dinner, I think I would care more. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. Since we're like actually sitting there, I was like, yeah, like let's do it, and like it's fine. But yeah, if like yours, why would you? Doesn't make any sense. But you have to like be willing to read and make sure that like you are like what your vision is for the wedding like coincides with what they allow. Because I didn't, they're like you were saying, there's so many restrictions.
Yeah.
And like the wedding insurance or what is it, like.
Did you have to get wedding insurance?
So some of it came with my venue. Like they had like their own, but my planner told me to get additional that would cover outside stuff. So we did.
That's smart.
Yeah. It was a last minute thing.
So with that, you've got to read, you've got to ask questions. Let's just touch on, all about the wedding site visits themselves. How did you prepare, if at all? Like Mary Lee, I know you even had.
I'm very prepared. So,
the most prepared one here, probably.
Yeah, no, I had a bunch of stuff printed out. I had my Pinterest boards organized. I mean, I'm like a firm believer. I just feel like it's my biggest thing in life. If you know what you want, you can get it. If you don't, you can't. Because if you don't know what you want, how are you supposed to start going about it? So, I knew everything I wanted. And there have been some points of contention. I think making a list of things you stand by and do not want to cave on is super important. And having those discussions kind of like with whoever you're going into that meeting with prior. Like, I'm always like, Mom, I, don't want to say this, do want to say this. What do we want to give away? What do we not?
Yeah.
And even though it's like the people helping us, but I don't know, there's just always a little way to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, manipulate the situation to your advantage, I would say, all the time.
Yeah.
So just figure out how you can play up.
I think, for you, Mary Lou, you were so clear on everything of like what your vision is, what you wanted.
Right. But you guys have been talking about this rain plan. So mine's in the summer in the mountains. And I do not want this tent up on the back patio. And they're trying to force me to have it up. And I'm like, I don't want it. And my parents are like, we need to wait until like the week before to decide and see what the weather is. They're like, we need to ask them like, how long do we have to decide? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I just don't want the tent. Like, even if it's raining, who wants to go outside in June and stand under a tent?
Right.
My dad's like, my friends. I'm like, your loser friends can go to the men's grill. Get over it. Like, I'm just, I don't want the tent. It blocks the whole view. I'm getting married in the mountains for a view.
For a reason, yeah.
But we will see. TBD on that.
I think ours give us 72 hours.
To decide.
Yeah.
Well, they have the tent all the time, which I also think is kind of BS that they then also charge us for it. And then I was like, well, then what does it cost to take it down? They're like, we don't know. Okay, well, so you're going to either charge me $3,000, but what if I don't want it? Like, it's just like, then how can you still charge me the $3,000 if you just don't want to do the labor to take it down?
I also didn't realize how much tents were until
Tents
I
are so
realized I
expensive.
wanted
But they
a
own
tented-
the tent
Yeah, I
at
had
the
to
club.
rent a tent.
Yeah.
So it's so much different with those. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
$3,000 is really nice, which is the other reason that they try and be like, it's only this much because we own it and we split it through our events. Like,
You're
it's
like, but I
not.
don't want it.
Yeah, I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want the tent.
Yeah.
Forcing it on me makes me hate it more.
Right.
It's also because there's like barrels that hold it down. 'Cause
I know
it's on a
exactly what you're talking
stone-
about. Yeah.
It's on a stone patio. So I asked if I could get a different type, and they said no. Since it's stone, that's my only option. And it's like historic, like they can't like drill holes in anything.
No, I had the same issue with the barrels. I didn't realize until my florist told me, she's like, oh, I'm looking at this tent. It looks like it's the one with the barrels. Like, is that what you want? And I was like, what? And then I called my planner and she's like, no, you have walls. Like, you can't see the barrels. I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, the barrels are ugly. No one wants to see them. So
You can see the barrels though, because this patio doesn't cover the whole. I mean, this tent doesn't cover the whole patio.
Well, you wouldn't do walls for your tent either.
your June.
It's
Yeah, that'd be
June, yeah.
stuffy. Yeah.
and that.
And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
don't do it. Don't make me do it. Yeah.
God, you guys, that is my one battle, and I have been fighting with
But
it
at least you're very clear
every
on what you
single
want.
time
Yeah.
I see the planner, and I ask her for things, and then the next time we see her, not the planner, the coordinator, and the next time I see her, she doesn't have any answers for me.
The coordinators, I feel like,
Doesn't thrill me, but she does a lot. I don't mean to.
Coordinators
Yeah.
are great, but I also feel like that could be a whole different like episode on
Yeah.
the coordinators versus planners.
Yeah, the venue coordinator.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok on that recently, actually.
I lived it planning mine.
Yeah. So to wrap up, we'll do a little game. We've kind of talked about a few things that would maybe give you pause on when picking a venue, but we'll play red flags versus deal breakers. So red flags just being the things that would kind of give you a little hesitation versus deal breakers being like, absolutely no, this would jeopardize my vision or my timeline.
My vision.
Yeah. So a tent might be
A tent.
a
Might
deal
be.
breaker.
But my father,
required
my
tent.
father, who's in charge, said that I need to be nicer about it.
Yeah, that's a green flag for John.
He was like, "You need to relax, and we'll
Calm
figure it out."
down. Yeah. Don't embarrass me, Mary Lou.
Basically, he was like, "Take a breath."
Take a breath. So, first one, Marshall, you talked about a wedding that ended at 9. So, we'll kind of, I would say,
I think that's a red flag, but not a deal breaker because if you wanted to, you can always have an after party. That's
That's what
my
I'm
opinion.
doing.
Yeah.
Mine ends at 9.
Yeah.
Mine ended at 10 because it was a curfew of like music in the neighborhood.
Mine was like 10:30.
Yeah.
So.
But that was,
Mine has to be at the church. I have to
Yeah.
bring it
Yeah.
up. So the ceremony is at 2. So it's like, how long can we go in
That's-
between? So
yeah.
we're starting at 5, and then at 9, it's over. So then I'm like, we're going to an after party.
That's how ours was. It depended on bar. The bar would only be open for, I think, at max 5 hours.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
So, my opinion, that's just a red flag.
yeah.
Well, I feel like if it's not well coordinated, it's just a yeah. But other than that,
Without a plan. or like an intention for it.
Yeah.
If you are researching the venue and you see a lot of negative reviews,
I think that's a deal breaker.
I'm a big review reader. I'm
Same.
also a big review writer.
Same.
I believe they're very impactful. So yeah, I mean, I read reviews in places when I get massages out of town.
Yeah. Well, also if their bad reviews span over a couple of years, so
Yeah.
like they could
Yes.
get a couple of bad reviews and then they did nothing to fix it and people are still having issues, like to me that's a deal breaker.
I agree. I do like to look for the most recent.
Yes.
Because I do believe in places like improving.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
do they know to improve if like no one tells them? But like if you have a whole thing of reviews and people are like, this sucks.
Right. I mean, also if it's like your first year doing weddings,
Yes.
then
Then,
you
yeah.
have my,
a learning curve.
get some tweaks out.
Poor communication.
Deal breaker.
Yeah, I would say deal breaker too. Just because like it's hard being a bride. You're anxious AF.
Yeah.
Being bad at communication is terrible.
Especially if you're having an out of town wedding.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't email me back for days.
That literally was a
That
deal breaker
literally
for
was
you, right?
why I didn't get married at the one venue in the mountains because it was the worst communication. I'm like, how am I supposed to plan a wedding? I'm just trying to plan a site visit. Can't
And
plan
you
a
can't
wedding with
even.
this person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not good. What about vendor restrictions?
It depends. In my opinion, it depends on the restrictions. Like if something's, like we were saying, really important to you and you can't do that, then that could be a deal breaker. But if it's something like we couldn't bring in outside alcohol, like it kind of annoyed Gil because he wanted a certain craft beer, but like not the end of the world.
Right. Like ours, they are doing the cake in-house, which I feel like could be a deal breaker, but the pastry chef is like renowned. Like she does
Yeah.
like
Right.
gorgeous stuff. So like I didn't care, but I
Yeah.
could see like somebody else like maybe caring or wanting something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that's just knowing what your vision is, knowing what you want, and having that clear list when you do go into site visits.
Yeah.
Starting to figure out your venue.
Venue, woo. I think the last thing is budget.
Yeah. Know your budget.
We'll have a whole episode on that, but
Be strict on your budget though. Like with like don't let them talk you up. Especially if it's something you don't want.
Yeah.
Or, like you don't care about. So
yeah, negotiate. But we'll get into budgets another day.
it's a whole other episode.
Whole beast in of
It is.
itself. Well, until next time, everybody.
That's a wrap. Bye.
Bye guys.
Bye.